Hi everyone, I'm Angela from Buckridge Homestead, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I'm so blessed to have another day in this beautiful sunshine. It's just gorgeous today, and I got my house all tidied up and cleaned up so I can make some delicious wonton soup. So today I'm just going to teach you how I make my own wontons and then make the broth for the wonton soup. And you can either have them together, eat them, the wontons in the soup like they authentically are, or like we like to do is fry up any extra wontons and eat them all crispy. So that's another way to do it. So we do both. So come along with me, and we're gonna have a great day today making wonton soup. So let's get started. Hey guys, okay, so where should we begin? How about with what ingredients that we need? So right now, I think the first thing that we're gonna start with is we're going to use ground beef and ground pork. Now, I know I have a lot of this. I got 2 pounds ground pork and 3 ground beef, but I need to make lots. I need lots of leftovers all the time because I get feeling sick from my disease, and I get chemotherapy, and so when I'm in the dumps a bit, I need meals and food that I can just go grab. So I feel so great today. So today's a great day to make up some really light soup that you could have anytime. That's so good any time of the year. But I'm making lots, but I'm going to put the recipe in the description box below, and you can cut it in half if you choose. You don't need to make this big of one. But the nice thing about making a big batch is that you can make mini meatballs with anything left over that doesn't fit your wonton wrappers and throw them in the freezer for another day, or fry them up and have it with your soup or whatever you like. So yeah. So the next thing that we're going to need, and I'm not making these from scratch, but they are called wonton wrappers. And I don't know how many there is in here, doesn't say, but I've made this before, and I used 2 packages for all of this meat. And I did have leftover meat. We're also going to use 2 bunches of green onions, a head of bok choy. I'm using my canned chicken broth that I made the other day. If you want to know how to make your own bone broth, I made a video just the other day where you can make it and can it and always have it ready for projects like these. And I'm making a big batch, so I don't want to use all of my jars right now because I like to add at least 1 to every meal. I'm using 3 today. I probably could use like 6, but I'm going to make it go further with some bouillon. And then, of course, salt and pepper, ground ginger. If you have fresh, that would be amazing. These are my homemade dehydrated and minced onion, some cornstarch, 2 cloves of garlic that we're going to mince up, soy sauce, sesame oil, and Worcester sauce. Now, this is my own version of my wonton soup. It's not like exactly an authentic version, but it's how we like it, and that's why I'm sharing it today. So I hope that you'll follow along and enjoy it, and you can add anything else that you think of that you would enjoy. I also may add quite a bag of spinach because we like lots of greens in our soup. So it's really brothy still, but it's got some good substance and some good veggies. All right, so there's the ingredients. So let's get on to the first step. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get all my veggies all clean and washed up nice and minced up. And sometimes green onions can be recalled a lot, for different things. So I like to make sure that they're nice and clean. And the bok choy. It'd be so good. Chickens are gonna love the end of this. Ah! And like I said, I love my soup really hearty and full of nutrients and vitamins, so I'm going to probably add a bag of spinach as well, which you can get, or like a little, those plastic sized boxes of spinach. You can even add kale to this. It works out really nice too. Okay, so there, I've got my veggies all washed up, and now I'm going to peel this garlic and get it diced up. Ooh, that one's not looking too good. Let's just see. I have some more fresh ones too. Okay, so I have my 2 bulbs, all the cloves picked out of those. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw those in my food processor really quick and chop them up, because that's how I like to do it, really much faster. And then we're gonna put 3/4 into our meat and save 1/4 or 1/3, whatever you like, for our broth. Oop. That's why I like the food processor, because just like that, you're done. I do not have to chop anything, so that's handy. So this is all good. So I'm going to split this into thirds actually, and put 2/3 into my meat and 1/3 save it for the broth. Pieces, or they won't mix in with the meat very well. But you want to save 1/3 for your broth and 2/3 about approximately for your meat mixture. These are so fresh. The price here of green onions is vegetables in general get crazy, and green onions are seem to be quite high. I'm not sure why, but so I've planted some in my greenhouse and chives as well. So hopefully then I don't have to buy anymore for too long, but we'll see what happens. Who knows? I'm just lucky I'm here every day. I'm just so grateful that I'm wake up alive on this beautiful day and can enjoy it. But hopefully I can be here all summer to enjoy my greenhouse, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, that is about 1/3, I think, to save for the broth. And that is about 2/3 that we're going to dump right in here into our meat mixture. Okay, I just want to get them all. They're so yummy. Oh, there's a couple more hiding. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add soy sauce. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And I never measure much, maybe 3. And then we are going to add the same amount of sesame oil. So 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of that actually, because I was supposed to do 2 for a regular batch, so 4. And the Worcestershire, we're just going to do a couple drops. And we're going to use approximately 1 tablespoon to 1.5 of onion powder, and Not too much ginger, more like a teaspoon. Oh, that would be like 2, so I'm gonna leave it. That's fine. I'll just add a little bit more onion to kind of counteract what I dumped in there. All right, so that looks really good. And now for the cornstarch, I need to use, I better get a spoon. I need to use 2 tablespoons. There we go. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to mix the meat mixture up. Oh, I almost forgot, where's our salt and pepper? Can't forget that. So we're gonna put 2 teaspoons of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. I don't think that was quite 2. There we go, 2 and 1. Perfect. So now we're gonna get it mixed up. Okay, here we go. I'm mixing all of this meat up, and I got my handy dandy gloves on because, as I've told you guys in other videos, I don't like getting meat under my fingernails right now. So, this smells so good. It's got to be mixed really well and really evenly. And the only way to do that, I think, is by hand. And that sesame oil in here makes it so nice. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like wontons already. But it actually really helps keeping the meat moist in here. And of course, it's got that yummy, authentic flavor. Whew, some of these are cold. They were a little bit frozen still. But I will get this all mixed up for you, and then we'll come back. Okay, one thing that I forgot to mention is that we want to get a little bowl of flour. Just put a little bit of that in there, and we'll set it to the side. We'll set it to the side for now. And we also want to just have a small bowl of water. So I'm just going to grab that just to dip your fingers in. So there we go. We got that. So now you got your meat, your little dish, your wonton wrappers, and some flour. So that's awesome. Okay, we'll see if I could do this. I haven't done it in a long time. So you're going to peel your wonton wrappers apart. Just do a few at a time. And these are great. I buy them if I ever see them on sale and freeze them because these were frozen and they're just perfect. So what you want to do is you want to take about, I don't know, a teaspoon. How much do I wonder is that about? I think that's like maybe a little less than a tablespoon of your filling. And then you want to dip your finger in the water and take up the corners. And you can do this however that you want. I just pinch them however I want until I get a little wonton looking shape. And then pinch them the best you can, and then you dunk it lightly in flour. Not caked, but just lightly. That's going to make a nice for our broth. So again, we're just going to run water along the sides. And it does take a little time, but oh, it's so worth it. I'll do 2 here at a time. See if that will stay wet. And bring up all my corners. I don't do anything fancy and I don't know the proper way, but that's how I do it. Bring it up like that again, and then you're going to dunk it in flour. So you can kind of make like a little assembly line and just keep going. And actually, maybe it's easier to just, there's a better one. Leave it in the flour for a minute. And sometimes you're going to have to stop and wash your hands because they're going to get all floury. Rick. No. There's deer outside, and so the dog's getting excited. I wonder if they're all back. I don't even see anything yet. But there was a family out there about an hour ago in the pasture of mule deer. So there we go. I think the flour helps keep it together, and it also helps thicken the broth just ever so slightly when we make the broth. So that part, that's how you make the wontons. So I'm just going to power through these wontons and see how many I can get. And I'm gonna try this water thing with 2 at a time on the edge. Seems to be working. And the mixture of pork and beef I find is just so good. I prefer it more than plain pork, and that's why I mix it, but you could totally just do plain pork. It's totally up to you if that's what you prefer. And if you put too much in here, they're not gonna hold together. Like that one, I put a lot in there and it kind of bursted, but we won't give up on it. It's still good. Make a couple more. And I believe there's 50 wonton wrappers in each package, but I can't remember. Funny that the package didn't say on it. Okay, so I'm going to power through these and I will come back when I've done a whole bunch more. Okay, I'm back and I've got my bowl of wontons all ready. And I thought I had 100 wrappers, but I only had 50. So I set some meat aside to make some more when I get some more wrappers. I'm just going to throw that in the freezer. And then I kept the other half of the meat and I made some yummy meatballs in here that I'm going to add to my wonton soup, which is totally just a thing that I like to do to make it more meaty and more substantial. And it has that delicious flavor, and you just need them raw and you drop them into your soup base. But you don't have to do that unless you want to. But if you do have extra, it's really smart to make some extra meatballs, and you can throw them in the freezer or cook them at the same time or put them in the soup. Totally up to you. So now that we have those done, I just want to say thank you to my dear friend who originally gave me this recipe. I have tweaked it to the way we like it, but she gave me the original recipe and it's just so delightful. I've been able to do all sorts of things with it. So she's such a doll, and I used to work with her. But anyway, I feel so lucky to have met her and had her show me how to do them. Now, if you have nails, sometimes it's really helpful because I was able to really pinch in there. Oh, I got one guy who looks not too happy, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, especially if it's your first time or first few times. It takes a little while to get used to it. But I ended up dredging them all in the flour. And so now what we're going to do is get started on the broth. And because I'm dying to sample this. So the broth is really simple. I'm just adding all of my Oh wow, and did these ever seal good? Holy moly. Homemade chicken broth. And I want to dunk them in this water that I have to get out all of the goodness. Oh wow, look at that chicken broth that we made the other day. It looks amazing. I just want to be able to get out every little bit of flavor. So altogether you're going to need about 6 liters of broth. Now there's no exact recipe. You need to taste this. I'm going to give you the recipe, but it's still, you need to taste it to be able to know. And then I'm going to add the rest of that 2 liters of water, and I'm going to add half a cup of my favorite Better Than Bouillon beef stock flavoring. And this one's almost gone, so I'm going to go put hot water in it, and I'm going to put the lid back on, shake it, and that's going to help me get out all the remaining little delicious bits out of there. There, I'm not wasting any. And this is that organic stuff that I was showing you before. And I'm mixing chicken and beef broth in here today because we're using beef and pork. It just gives it such a rich, deep flavor. It's amazing. So, like I said, there's no exact amount of perfect broth mix, but I'm just going to add a touch more water to this, maybe like another 1 more quart, and that'll be perfect. Okay, so as I'm bringing this to a boil, I'm putting in a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add all the rest of that garlic that we saved from previous, when we diced it all up, our 2 bulbs. I'm going to hang on, I'm going to save the green onions till last. And then soy sauce. We're going to use, I don't have a big enough spoon, but we need to use a 1/4 cup. So I've got about a 1/4 cup in here. Sorry, you guys, the way I cook, I just throw things in until it tastes perfect. But I think that if you learn to do it like that, you'll learn to adjust stuff the way that you love the flavor and be able to cook stuff a lot easier from scratch. So now we're going to do a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, and just a 1/4 teaspoon, I guess I'm doubling it, so I'd be using half of ginger. Half a teaspoon. Okay, so I'm going to let this come to a simmer, and I'm going to get the rest of this stuff put away. But I'm going to leave the soy sauce out, the green onions, and the salt and pepper. And when we come back, we're going to taste this broth before we do anything next. So what I want to do is I'm going to go chop up my bok choy and get out my spinach, and then we'll come back and taste this as it gets hotter. So now I'm adding in my bok choy that I sliced right up, and a bag of frozen spinach. I always buy it when it's on sale and just freeze them. It looks like a lot of greens, but it won't be. It really won't be, because it cooks down so much. And it's more nutritious the more greens I add. And kale's nice in this as well. Okay, so now we're gonna fry up some of our wontons. I like to sometimes add fried wontons to the soup because it keeps them, I don't know, it just makes a nicer texture, I find. So I'm gonna use a squirt of sesame oil, and I'm going to use a drizzle of olive oil. And then I'm gonna fry a few of these babies up while we are waiting for this to come to a boil. So I got our wontons here. And when this warms up, you don't want to burn them. Well, maybe I'll put in some of these ones that kind of like more or less didn't look perfect. Well, none of them are perfect, that's for sure, but just gonna get some of these all fried up. And then you can just eat them like that. They're so good just like that. Or you can add them to the soup. And we like them fried first. Just adds that extra, takes that a bit of that sogginess away that sometimes you either love it or it's not your favorite. So there we go. So here's our wontons sizzling. It looks so good. If I was eating these just by themselves and I didn't make the broth today, then what I would do is I would fry them all the way. But I'm not going to worry about that with this batch. I've got my half a bowl here that I'm going to fry all the way just for eating like crispy. But I'm only going to do these enough to get the sides crispy. I'm not worried if they're undercooked in any way because I'm going to be putting them in the soup. I see that one opened up, but that's okay. So if you're eating these just fried, see how they're starting to get? What you do is now you're going to add about a 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup water, depending on how many you have in your frying pan. And you're going to put the lid on and make sure that you're frying them. And you've got them all crispy, so I wait till they're about like crispy on the bottom. And then I add the water with the lid, and then I will steam them the rest of the way. That makes sure that the insides are fully cooked. These are looking really good. And the broth, looking divine. So these are coming right along beautiful. If you have to add a little bit of water in there to get them, all the edges steamed, you can do that too. You're looking really good. You just don't want any, like it a little crispy like that, and then there's no doughy bits. And here's our broth. We're just waiting for this to come to a boil. It's such a big pot that it's taking a little while. But that's okay. I'll get my next batch of wontons fried up while I'm waiting, and then we got to taste this broth. Okay, I'm going to add a tiny little bit of water. Get these steaming. That'll be the last of them. Help them a bit. Drizzle a little more sesame oil on it if you need to. I like to get all the sides so they're not doughy. There we go. There. Feels nice and crispy. Smells amazing in this house. Okay, so I tasted this and it needed a little bit more beef broth. So I added another couple tablespoons of beef broth and a couple glugs of soy sauce, and now it tastes perfect. And I also add a little pepper. And then these guys are just sitting here. They're still sizzling, but the heat is turned off. And so now what I want to do is I want to add half of the green onions. I'm just going to save a little bit for the garnish. This looks so good. It's going to be so good. So this recipe would feed 10 people. That's why I'm going to list the recipe down below, and I'll make it the regular recipe, which would be for probably 5 meals. But we like lots of leftovers, like I said. So, and I still have a lot of beef, enough to double this, enough to make it another 50 wontons, because for the soup. Because usually I just add the wontons right before serving. I don't like cook them in it for hours or anything because they'll get really soggy. So I'm just going to let that broth get all perfect, and then I'm going to drop the wontons in and we're ready to go. So my wontons end up being cooked through anyways, even though they don't need to be, because I'm going to add them to the soup soon. But they're so good, so flavorful, just delicious. They're going to be amazing added in there. So there you have it, friends, my fried wonton soup, and it's amazing. Garnish it with a little bit of green onion. Oh, you will love it. It's going to be so delicious. And there's nice chunks of nothing soggy, and people that don't typically like wontons probably really like this soup because it's got crispy wontons in it if you add them right at the end, and they will still cook a bit in the broth. I like to cook my broth until all of the veggies are nice and cooked and bringing in the flavors, so at least 45 minutes is what I like to do. And then basically after that, taste it again, see if it needs anything, and go ahead and add your crispy wontons. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys so much. It's actually an honor that if you're here and watching my videos, thank you so much. It makes me feel like I'm giving some sort of value and contributing to the world, and hopefully giving some inspiration to other people. So I just want to say that special thank you, that when you do watch my videos, it means so much to me. So thanks so much for joining me, friends, for this crispy wonton soup recipe. I really hope you try it. If you do, leave me a comment in the comment section and tell me what you thought of it and how it turned out. I'd love to hear from you. And if you love my channel, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. I hope you have a great day and enjoy your wonton soup. Bye, friends.